United have got their man. Now Inter Miami in Major League Soccer. I've got to find their man. Tata Martino still had time left in his contract, but decided this week he'd had enough due to personal reasons. So he's moved on. Elemi, what's the latest that you can tell us with regards to Inter Miami's search to replace Tata Martino?
Yeah, Andy, very quickly on Tata Martino, as you mentioned, he's left the club, or he's leaving the club. The announcement is literally happening as we're talking, or soon thereafter, with the club making the presser. Personal reasons. He's 61 years old. The spotlight on Inter Miami is so much for him. He's already won MLS Cup with Atlanta United. He's already managed some of the biggest clubs and national teams out there. And I think he rightly has said, look, I need time for myself. And I'm sure that will be explained in the presser. In terms of who's next, well, reports, including our very own ESPN Argentina and much more, suggest that Javier Mascherano, who is Lionel Messi's former teammate, of course, massive representative for Argentina. He was managing Argentina under 20s. Obviously, he's played for some of the biggest clubs in Europe, including Liverpool, Barcelona, etc. He is the man to take over. And this ticks a lot of boxes, and also there are a few minuses for me. Ticks a lot of boxes because the most important thing for Inter Miami fans and Inter Miami is that Lionel Messi entering 2025, a very pivotal season with the club, of course, because we don't know what's going to happen after that. This is urgency now after the failure of not getting out of the playoffs in MLS. So they're going to really need to win MLS Cup. So the most important thing is that Lionel Messi has a manager that he trusts and that he likes. And that's Mascherano. They're very good friends. They know each other very well for both club and country. The second perspective is that Inter Miami as a whole has a lot of young Argentinian and Argentinian-American players. Facundo Farias, who didn't play this season because of an ACL. Federico Redondo, the son of one of my favorite players, Fernando Redondo, as well, in there as well. Chelo Weigand at the back. There's a lot of Latin American and Argentinian young talent that's emerging. And Javier Mascherano, as you know, they lost to France in the quarterfinals in the Summer Olympics, but he's done generally a really good job with that youth setup. So that's another reason why he's coming in, because Miami is quintessentially so different to any other club in MLS. It's very Latin American. It's very heavily Argentinian influence, and that's why he's coming in. My minus, he's never managed a club before. Yeah. And he's never managed a club before in an MLS environment, which, as we know, is very difficult because it's the regular season and then it's the playoffs. And you're doing trips that are the equivalent of an international trip, right? When you have to play teams on the West Coast and go back, etc. So there's a lot of obstacles here. But overall, I think the pluses outweigh that. And Javier Mascherano reportedly is the next man to take over. It's going to be very interesting to see how this one unfolds. But that's the man to take over as we speak.
If it is him, Shaka, is it a gamble?
Oh, absolutely. For all the reasons that Elemi just detailed there. And while, yes, there are some pluses, looking in from the outside, they are few and far between. And that's down to a couple of things. One, his inexperience. Yes, he's been coaching Argentina under 20s, but only 22 games in charge of them. Coming into a system and a club like Inter Miami and a league like Major League Soccer and all the quirks, as probably as nicely as I can put it, that comes with managing in Major League Soccer. Supporters Shield, and then the playoffs, MLS Cup, and the transfer system and everything that kind of comes as part of just managing any football club in Major League Soccer. And then the expectation around Inter Miami, and then the unknown. And yes, the thing is, we're gonna keep, Sydney, I will keep seeing this. Eventually one year it will be right. Lionel Messi's powers will start to wane at some point. Granted, there's absolutely no sign of it happening anytime soon, but Father Time is undefeated. As good a fight as Lionel Messi continues to put up, you just wonder how long he can continue to carry this team in the way that he has. And yes, I know Inter Miami are again linked with a whole lot more talent, and even Neymar being thrown into the mix there. But you still feel that so much about Inter Miami so much about this appointment revolves around Lionel Messi. So again, I say this, there is absolutely no sign that Lionel Messi is slowing down, that his powers are waning, but at some point that will come true.
LME Shaka has just said eventually they'll probably get it right. what if they don't? Is this becoming too pally? What do you want, Lionel Messi? Okay, give me Suarez. Okay, you can have Suarez. Who do you want as manager now that Tata's gone? Give me Mascherano, which is great. You want him to be as comfortable as possible. Now, I love Lionel Messi, and I'd love nothing more than to see him successful. But I have to play devil's advocate as well. There's no guarantees, right? They played Inter Miami. They played Atlanta United. They didn't get through that. So what if he's getting everything he wants, but he's still not successful? Where does that leave Inter Miami when he's tried his hardest, but ultimately, for whatever reason, it might not work?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of trophies and everything, and MLS Cup, it's a failure because this is the ultimate objective, to win MLS Cup. Now, it's important to remember that Inter Miami are a baby club. They're very young. They only started playing a few years ago, only just before coronavirus hit us. In fact, that was their debut season. So there's a lot to be made here. But as you mentioned, when Lionel Messi enters the stratosphere, which is the same as Cristiano Ronaldo in the Saudi Pro League, then everything changes because the attention and the demands and the responsibilities of the club are no longer just to the club, but they're to him because he wants to make sure that he's also successful. The good thing is that Lionel Messi has the type of personality that really just wants to move on and play hard. In fact, I think that a lot of the issues are coming from the backroom stuff. I think they overhyped so much this season that it became such a failure. A great example was this overwhelming preseason global tour at the beginning of the season. Like, why are you doing this? Like, especially when Messi was injured, right? So you're already creating a spotlight that you don't need. When they won the Supporters' Shield, fireworks were lighting up at Chase Stadium. Gianni Infantino was saying that they're going to be the host of the club. Like, Messi didn't want any of that. In fact, at the end of that game, he said, the job's not done. We need to win MLS Cup. So I think the club needs to realize that, yes, we're going to give you what you need. Mascherano is going to come here. But at the same time, we need to now focus on what's more important, and that's the football on the pitch. And a lot of it is not Messi's fault. It's just trying to maximize the Messi name, which I understand. But when you overhype a team, especially in MLS, then you're going to fail, right? You're going to fail. So it's very important to now the next man in, which right now is Javier Mascherano, who, by the way, he coaches like how he used to play. Take full responsibility. They call him
cards are plenty.
Yeah. You'll probably see a few bookings too as well. They call him in Spanish el jefecito, right? The little chief, because he likes to take responsibility and ownership as this defensive midfielder, accidental center back, like they used to call him in Argentina as well, right? They like to have that, and I think that's what he's going to give. But to your point, when you have Lionel Messi, you can't just say yes to him to everything. Because at the end of the day, there is so much that he can do. And Shaka, I got to tell you, like, you're right. Like, at some time waits for no man. But I'm already kind of seeing it, especially with the national team. He's had to retransform his game. So this is going to be a really important 2025 for him. And whoever it is, and it's likely to be Javier Mascherano, my biggest advice to Inter Miami is this. Stop overhyping the product. He's there. You're going to get seats. You're going to get people on seats. You're going to get the attention. Focus on the most important thing, which is the football itself.
How guilty are they, Shaka, of doing that? Because we're the one that wants to see how did Lionel Messi get on last night. Are we going to be somewhere like in a legacy period, 50 years' time? We're now talking right now about the cosmos of the 70s and 80s. So in the 2070s and the 2080s, we're going to look back and go, oh yeah, Messi played for Inter Miami. Are Inter Miami going to be the New York Cosmos 50 years from now? Ultimately, no one really remembers if the Cosmos won or lost back in the 70s or 80s, but they had Pele and Beckenbauer and other legends. Is it more than just results as far as legacy is concerned?
I think that's the kind of danger of where we are right now with Inter Miami. And yes, without question, in 50 years' time, people will reflect on Inter Miami and their impact. And to LMA's point, still a very young club in Major League Soccer, how they've been able to navigate. Again, I'll use as political language as I can, navigate the transfer system and the salary cap and everything that goes along with it to build the squad that they have. And so far only deliver one Supporters' Shield. And in fairness to Lionel Messi, again to LME's point, he knows better. He's been there. He knows when a job is half done. And he knows you do not celebrate when a job is half done, because that's the game will 9 times out of 10 kick you in the teeth as a result. So as much as we were talking about a cultural change around Manchester United, what was it, 10 minutes ago, you could probably make the same argument around Inter Miami. The challenge for Inter Miami is that given the newness of the club, given that this is what they are known for, this is their foundation. This is where they've kind of staked their claim around who they are, bringing in the best players to have ever played, packing the stadium with celebrities who otherwise do not come to soccer games. What's the legacy that, to your question, what's the legacy, not just in 50 years' time, what's the legacy in 5 years' time? Who are Inter Miami come 2030, let's say? Those are our real questions to ask of a club that has risen to prominence in this league unlike any other. And I say unlike any other, fully recognizing David Beckham and LA Galaxy and what that did to the league at the time and everybody who's followed suit. This is different. It feels different, and it needs to impact the league and Miami a whole lot differently.
Yeah, I'm glad that Shaka mentioned David Beckham, MD, because we had a question regarding about expectations when David Beckham came to LA Galaxy, and in the end they won 2 MLS trophies. But I may remind our viewer there that it took him 5 seasons to do that. And it's a different environment. And by the way, actually Beckham and LA Galaxy are a perfect example of what I was talking about, because if you remember, and if anybody's watched that Netflix documentary, many fans were not happy when he went to AC Milan and took that loan, and he was doing things like outside extracurricular off the pitch situations are not going to help you. Whatever happens with Messi and Inter Miami, it's not going to determine the legacy of Lionel Messi. We know what Lionel Messi has done, etc. But this is more about this club that has put so much, and the league that has put so much effort in making sure that Messi's here. And so 2025, they have to get it right. And my only advice is, whatever the expectations are, make sure that the biggest focus is on that roster, that squad, and what you do week in and week out. And if it's Javier Mascherano, then I wish him all the best.
I can't wait for the day that somebody says, Lionel Messi, he won La Liga and Champions League, something, won the World Cup, but never won
MLS Cup.
Never won MLS Cup. I cannot wait for that day.
Keep up to date with ESPN FC every single night to talk about Messi's legacy and will he or will he not win Major League Soccer, but more importantly, to find out who the next Inter Miami manager is going to be. Before we wrap up, we're going to throw over shortly to Jules Laurent, who's been, honestly, what a gig this is. He was let loose in the classic football kits store.
It's ridiculous.
That's Christmas all over again. Favorite kits, because Colombia have got an anniversary kit out right now, which is just absolutely glorious. A Peruvian side, Universitario, had a Centenario jersey, which was magnificent, maroon and white, just like the famous Heart of Midlothian football club. There you go.
Wow, what a connection. That was amazing.
Very good. Who had 28 minutes on their bingo card?
28 minutes on the watch. Yeah, it's not even on that one. Shaq, what was your favourite quadruple X jersey that you ever wore at Newcastle?
There's only one kit that ever mattered in the history of football, and that is a Newcastle Skyline goalkeeper shirt.